Hey, Joe Gilder here. In this video, I want to take you a little bit behind the scenes into a recent promotion that I did on my other business, Home Studio Corner. And we'll talk about the key components of a good promo, a massive pivot that saved the day, saved my bacon on this promo, 3 business levers that you can pull to fix really any problem that you're facing in your online business, and then how to turn even a failed promo into a win. You ready? Let's jump in. Before we do, question of the day. Leave a comment below. I'm going to need some more comments from all of you. I know this channel, as I'm shooting this, is still pretty tiny, so engagement is even more important, and I'd love to hear from you and know, specifically this question, what topics would you like me to cover in future videos? Where are you stuck? Where are you curious? Where do you need some help? I would covet your ideas and things that you're specifically working on so I can continue to make this channel as valuable as I can for you specifically. All right, let's jump in. Okay, so I did a recent promotion on my main business, Home Studio Corner. Now, when I say promotion, what I mean is typically I mean a sale. It is some sort of an event where I'm trying to make some sales in a set amount of time. So this one was a 7-day promo. The offer was 50% off my mixing course, which is one of my more popular courses. And the prep time to get this entire promotion set up was one afternoon. See, that's the thing. I've talked about how the term passive income feels misleading sometimes, but here's where that really comes into play. It took me probably 6 months to create this course. That's a long time. But it only took me an afternoon to take a promo that I'd done a year ago on this same course and just rework it to work for this promotion. Dan Kennedy talks about creating marketing assets. So instead of just doing an income event and running some sort of a sale, you create things that you can reuse again later. So I ran this almost this exact promo about a little over a year ago. So I took that existing email sequence that I created using the sequence feature inside of Kajabi, duplicated it, updated the copy because a couple of things needed to change, made a few tweaks to the offer and things like that. But for the most part, it took me all of one afternoon to get the entire new promo set up and ready to go. So that's what they talk about when they talk about passive. That's a piece of it. It still took some specific work to do, but then I just was able to essentially sit back and let the promo run. I set up this promo probably 3-4 weeks before it ran. So it was really nice to know when the day came for the promo to begin, it just started pretty much on its own. I had to do one thing the day before it started, but otherwise it was a very, very kind of passive approach to this thing. All right, so the key components of a good promotion. There's a lot, but these are kind of the 3 big ones that come to mind whenever I do a promo here on Home Studio Corner or eventually here on Joe Gilder Business. So the first is a clear offer. The offer makes sense. People get what they're getting. So this one was a 50% discount on Home Studio Mixing, which is my flagship mixing course, probably my most popular course. 50% off. Big deal, big discount, good reason to buy. Another reason to buy, a deadline. So the sale ended on Monday at midnight. I kind of messed this up. I'll tell you about that later. But having a deadline, I don't have numbers, but if I just said, hey, buy my course, I would get maybe a sale or 2. If I said, hey, buy my course, it's on sale, I would get more sales. If I say, hey, buy my course, it's on sale, and the sale is ending, flood of orders. That's how it always works, and you'll find, if you've never done this before, you'll find as the deadline approaches, typically that last day, you will see a spike in sales on the last day because humans being what they are, we tend to wait until the last minute to do the things that we want to do. So keep that in mind when you do your promos. That's sometimes half the sales come in on the last day. So if you're discouraged at the beginning, just wait until the last day. And then finally, I use a daily email sequence during the entirety of the promo. This is typically 1 email per day, trying to hit different aspects of what they'll get out of the course, give them some training, some teaching, and then transition into a pitch for the course. And then the last day of the promo, I'll send at least 2 emails letting them know today's the last day to get this. Sometimes I'll send a third, or I'll send 2 emails on the next to last day and then 2 emails on the last day. The purpose of this video is not to cover the idea of a daily email sequence might terrify you. You might think, I don't want to be a spammer. That's a good desire. I don't want to be a spammer either. However, this is a business. And the way this business runs is I sell things over email. Now, I try to respect my audience. I care about my audience. I don't just slam them with buy my thing, buy my thing, buy my thing, buy my thing all the time. With every email that I send, the first thing I want to do is give value of some sort. And then occasionally, like on this last day, the value of the email is, hey, this is just a quick reminder, this sale ends tonight. If you want it, go grab it. So that one is arguably less valuable. But if we were to like keep a scale, I'm giving way more value to this email list than I'm asking in return. And that is a good ratio to keep in mind. Always give more value than you receive in return. How do you measure that? Of course you can't. But my goal is if you subscribe to my email list and you were subscribed for a year, 2, 3, 15 years, that you have gotten so much value from being a part of that email list, even if you've never placed a single order. Same thing for my YouTube channel. Same thing for really anything that I do in business. Why? Because I'm such a good guy? No, because I like to think there's a part of me that just wants to serve the world. Sure, good guy. Yeah, sure, why not? But ultimately, it's good for business. So while I care, I want to be kind and generous to the world as a whole, I also want to grow my business. And those two things do not have to be diametrically opposed. They can serve the same purpose. And that's how it works out in the numbers. So look at any business like this, an online business, an information business where you're typically selling coaching, expertise, courses, memberships, things like that. You'll typically find that the audience size is huge. The customer size is small relative to that. That's just what it takes. So I need to serve 200,000 people to get 2,000 customers. If that seems like a bad deal, just the way it is. So that inspires you to, instead of trying to grab every piece of money you can out of every person that crosses your path, you can let go and say, I'm going to serve these people well, give them value, period. But I'm also going to ask for things in return. That the main thing being, hey, buy my thing. And a portion of them will buy. Another portion will say, no, that's not for me, but they're not going to hate your guts because you asked them. The answer is going to be simply no, or not now, or maybe one day. All of those are valid answers to the question, should I buy your thing? All right, so let's take a quick look at the numbers. Now, I know this is a little bit hard to read, so let me kind of take you on a tour through this. So this was a 7-day promo, went from Tuesday to Monday. And these two columns, the first and second columns here, have to do with this current promo that I just ran here in 2024. Here is the previous promo. So the numbers in this first column are the sales that came in, the the revenue that came in that specific day. This is the running total for the promo. Sales per day back in 2023 when I ran the same promo, and totals for the day. And this gap column is just the difference between the two totals. So here, the totals here, I made $22.50 the first day of this promo. I made $36.71 the first day of this promo. Difference of $1,400. So this is where I think it gets really interesting, because we're going to talk about a pivot that I made in this. But let's kind of go through and check it out. So this promo went through Monday. And as of day two was pretty terrible. I made $2,500 on day 2 when I ran this promo the last time, a year ago, with a much smaller audience. So I was assuming this one is going to crush and make at least 50% more than what it made the last time. This one made around $24,000. I was thinking I'm going to do at least 30 on this one. Well, as of day 2, I look at the numbers, and I already had gathered the numbers for this promo, so I was comparing the current promo to the previous one, which is important. And I noticed on day 1, we're lagging behind $1,400. Okay, that's fine. Day 2, we made less than $1,000. Day 2 last year made $2,500. So between being behind quite a bit here and then behind another chunk a bit here, we're $3,000 behind what we did the last time, 2 days in. So last time we were already at $6,200. We were only at $3,200 this current promo, which comes out to I was 48% behind the previous time I ran the promo. That set off some red flags. I looked at all this on Thursday morning, the day after these 2 days had come to an end. I looked at it, and at first I was discouraged, and then I said, okay, what can I do about this? So a quick story of how my typical business model works is I have lead magnets that you sign up for. You get on my email list, and then occasionally I run promos to that list for things like this. And when you run the promo, it takes you to a page. Let me pull up that page really quickly. So it takes you to a page where you can read about the course, you can read some testimonials, and then you have a couple of options of how to buy. Okay, this is called a sales page. Last December, I made a change to all my sales pages. So I was thinking, sales were kind of dragging. I wasn't getting like kind of the normal regular sales that I thought I should be getting. So I decided to make a change. I'd been running a video on the page and nothing else. Video in the style of like Russell Brunson, kind of the perfect webinar thing. Pretty scripted, pretty hard sell, if that makes sense, just to try it. And I thought it worked okay, but I thought, let's go back to just text on a page. Just give people something to read, and then they can decide if they want to do it. It's called a sales letter. And so I had a bunch of text on a page with testimonials and things like that. So I know it's a bit old school, but you'll hear a lot of people talk about even like flashy, fancy web pages. A lot of times a simpler text-based page will outperform the fancier pages. So I wanted to try that. So I got rid of the video and just took what I was talking about in the video and turned it into a sales letter, rewrote the sales letter for all of my courses, took couple weeks to knock all that out. Got to a point where I felt like this is good. Let's put this up and let's see how it runs. And so ran it for the last 6 months or so, and it didn't make much of a difference. I've made some changes to pricing to see if that was the variable, but it wasn't performing all that well. But I hadn't paid much attention to it because I kind of set it and said, I'll revisit this at some point in the future. So now was the time in the future where I needed to revisit it. I'm running a 50% off promo. The price of the course at the time was $200, so we're selling the course for $100. That's way too cheap, honestly. Way too cheap. This thing is worth $500 to $1,000 in real value, but I'm selling it for, so already out of the gate, it's hard to make a lot of money on just a $100 product. But we had run this promo and it worked well, did about $24,000 in sales revenue, so I figured, let's just run it again. A, because it's easy to set up. B, we can always change the promo, change the pricing down the road. That was my thought process. So we get into this and seeing that we're lagging behind, even with a bigger audience, I was distraught, discouraged. And so I went back and looked at what did the page look like back in 2023 when we ran this promo the last time. And the thing I noticed, you can use the Wayback Machine, by the way, if you don't know about the Wayback Machine, if you Google Wayback Machine, if you've been in business for a while or you just want to see what an old website of yours looked like, you can type in the URL, so homestudiocorner.com/mix, and then you can see how many times this system has saved a version of that page. So I just wanted to look back at 2023, and so I found I don't know how this works, by the way, but you can see like what your website looked like 10 years ago because I was bad about saving. So I looked back, I think here. This was like 2 months before I ran this promo the last time in 2023. And this pulls up a copy of the page and shows me what it looked like. It doesn't have, there was a video here, you'll see in a second, it takes a while to load, that doesn't show up because that doesn't work. But it shows you the basic layout of the page. You can get a pretty good idea of where you were. So when I looked this up, if it'll ever load, the main thing I noticed was this had a video on it. It had what's called a video sales letter right here. So it was a video here. Some of the fonts are messed up. There we go. Which is not showing up because it's an old copy. It had a video here with some testimonials. Real simple. So when I saw that and then I saw how behind we were on sales on day 2, I thought that's enough evidence for me to say I need to add a video back. So originally I thought, well, I'll just take that video and put it back on there. Problem with that is that video had a bunch of numbers about specific pricing, and all the pricing was different, and it would have been I recorded it in a different studio. I was in a different house. It looked different. I looked different. So I realized I couldn't like edit bits of that video out. It would be better to just redo the video. And so that's what I did. I sat down and spent about an hour. I scripted a new sales video and I shot the video and I uploaded it in about an hour, a little over an hour. This was on a Thursday. Whatever I had planned for that day got scrapped, and I did this instead, and I worked quickly. And let me see if I can I'm going to find the, okay, so here are the actual notes. These are the notes that I took for this promo. Here's all the tasks that I had to do to get the promo set up. Here's details about the offer. And here's just notes and numbers as the promo was happening. This is where I kind of kept track and kept kind of a log, a journal of what was going on with the promo. And first thing I thought of on Tuesday was we're already behind. I'm doubting the prediction. Then I was a little discouraged on Thursday. And I said, okay, what's the problem? Is it people aren't clicking, or is it they're just not buying? So are they not clicking the links in the emails? Because I made some changes to the emails. Maybe I messed something up there. And I saw that the email click-throughs were roughly the same, maybe a % behind. But with a bigger audience, that means more people are still getting to the page. So that was the first thing. You can see I looked at the Wayback Machine, and I had a VSL and testimonials. That was all that was on that page when I ran the promo the last time. So you can literally see my thought process. I said, all right, I'm turn the VSL back on. It was on the page just hidden. I was going to turn it back on, but that video didn't work anymore because I had made too many changes to what was being offered. So I scripted a new one. Now, this is complete. I didn't intend to show this to you in this video, but this is something I learned from Daryl Eves, who wrote the book YouTube Formula. And it's a simple script formula for doing videos. A script that I follow whenever I script a video. I go through these 5 stages: hook, re-engage, setup, re-engage, climax, goosh, wrap. Can't explain all of it, but the hook is basically what's happening in the video. It's very quick. Re-engage is something that's like a different plot line that you can kind of say, here's what's going to happen later. Setup sets up the idea for the video. Re-engage is something different, like a call to action, like when I tell you to, hey, go get my free guide. That's typically something that's a different topic, kind of refreshes them, saying, hey, by the way, go check this out. Now let's get back to it. The climax is the core of this core kind of message. Goosh is like a bonus, an extra thing they didn't expect to get. And then wrap up is the final part of the video. So this, if we can kind of take a quick tour of this, is the script that I made for the video. So I typically script in outline form like this, and then I go through, I have this on the screen, and I'm glancing through and doing it section by section. So this was, I introduced myself. I said, what if I told you you're closer to greater mixes than you realize? Here's a little bit about me. It's possible for you to get great mixes. Here are the 5 steps that I teach. So I gave them some value here. That's the bulk of the video. It's kind of giving them the 5 steps of my mixing process. Then I re-engaged them. I said, you can do this. You can do this all by yourself, but I can get you there faster. And then I kind of gave them an idea of what's included. It's easily worth $500 or more. You won't pay nearly that amount. By the way, here's the bonus. There's a 1-year guarantee that I offer. And then final 2 questions: how much money have you spent on your studio, and are you getting the mixes that you want? If not, this is going to be some of the best money you'll ever spend. So that was the quick and dirty, let's get it going. And so I scripted out the video, and let me get back to where I was before. So that all happened on the morning of this Thursday. So Thursday morning, I get up. One of the first things I do during a promo is I'm checking the numbers. How are things coming along? And this time I realized I'm 48% behind. I'm down $3,000 of where I probably should be. That's not looking good, right? If that continues, then this promo is only going to make about $10,000. And I was like, it needs to do at least 20. So I came in, made this change, and immediately saw an uptick in sales. Now, this isn't like massive, but the previous year I did 1,800 on day 3, and this one I did 2,200. So now I'm thinking, okay, the first 2 days we got behind, but now we're on track. And then we can see Friday did 3,300 versus 2,900. Saturday did 2,100 versus 1,400. And then the final day, Sunday, did 7,800 versus 7,400. So we literally tracked these numbers just ahead, whereas we weren't tracking nearly at all. Now, the sale was supposed to end on Monday, but I accidentally sent the last email saying the sale ends on Sunday. I scheduled it wrong. So I let people buy on Monday in case they were confused because the countdown timer messed up. So the sale, technically, that's why most of the sales came in here. That was what they thought the last day was, but I let a few sales come in later. Okay, so at the end of the day, we still ended up 16% behind the previous promo. So still in some ways a, quote, failure. We'll talk about that later. But we were 48% behind at 2 days in. So with this pivot, we were able to close that gap tremendously to the point where you could feasibly infer that if that video had been in place here and here, that these numbers would have been ahead of these, and this number would have been ahead of this one, theoretically. But either way, now, can I say for certain that this is what turned things around? No, you can't ever say anything for certain with really data in general. You're making some assumptions, but it seems like a pretty good assumption to say that something happened with that video sales letter that made the difference. And by the way, if you're curious what that looked like, that's this right here. So that's the logo for this course. What if I told you that you're closer to great? And I'm doing like I'm doing right now, with just as few edits as possible. going through and explaining it as best I can. This is giving them a taste of what the course is going to be, because the course is a lot of me teaching them stuff and also showing them stuff on screen. I still left all the text that I had before. I didn't think I needed to get rid of that. I just wanted to add a video here for the people who are like, I'm not going to read all that. Let me just watch the video. Then they click the button. They come down here. There was a countdown timer. The prices, the offers were a little bit different here. I didn't offer this big bundle. It was just these two. And these prices were lower. I raised prices after the promo was over, because I realized I can't do another $100 promo. I just can't. It's so much work for seemingly little money compared to what it could be. Okay, so real quickly, if you have not checked out my business game plan, I'm literally doing steps 3 and 4. So business game plan, GAME, stands for give, ask, measure, edit. Everything I'm showing you in this video happens because I'm doing the last 2 steps. I'm measuring what's happening and I'm editing what I'm doing in real time based on those measurements. Now, a lot of times that's in terms of, okay, I made a bunch of content the last 12 weeks. Which one's working? Which one's not? Okay, let's do more of the stuff that works. But sometimes it's like this. It's like the promo is happening. The planes are crashing. We got to do something now to change things up. That's what this game plan allows you to do, whether you're talking big macro changes or small micro in the moment changes. I've created a free PDF that shows you the business plan on a diagram, plus a masterclass that explains the whole thing. My gift to you, just go to joegilder.biz/game to get your free copy. All right, so let's talk about 3 levers that you can pull to fix problems in your business. I got some of this from Frank Kern, a longtime kind of hero of the entrepreneur space. And he talks about it being 4 things that you change, but for me, it feels more like 3. So there are 3 levers you can pull, 3 things you can change in what you're doing in your business when you encounter problems like the one that we ran into. A lot of times you can't change all of these, but usually 1 or 2 can be enough to push things over the top. So change the audience, change the offer, change the message. So change the audience. How do you change an audience? Well, if you're doing paid advertising, which I don't do, you obviously just target a different group of people. That's kind of obvious. If you're doing content-based marketing, like I do, then you change the audience by changing the content itself. You're changing what you're saying and to whom you're speaking. If I'm speaking too general and broad and there's people coming in that aren't interested in buying my thing, maybe I need to speak more specifically to a smaller group of people who will be more passionate about the topic and will be more likely to buy from me. This isn't something that I could fix in the moment during that promo, other than I suppose I could stop sending the emails to everyone on my list and just send it to a targeted smaller list based on what they'd purchased before, based on links that they had clicked perhaps. I didn't do any of that because of the thing was already starting, and I didn't think that was the big variable here. Plus, there's not much I can do about it. But you want to always speak to the right people. If you're for everyone, you're for nobody. So you need to be for a specific group of people. You may think, oh, but I'm limiting my options. Sure. But because I mentioned this in a recent video, because at the beginning of Home Studio Corner, I decided to talk to home studio musicians, that allowed me to not speak to all the other categories of musician and audio engineer, that I wasn't really the best person to speak to and to serve that community. And so it allowed me to attract the right people, my people, to my channel and ultimately into my business. So first thing you can do is change the audience. Second thing you can do is change the offer. So maybe the thing that you're selling or offering isn't worth it. There are 2 types of offers. There's the free offer, which is your lead magnet. If you don't have one, you need to make one ASAP. This is the thing when you make a piece of content, you say, hey, I made something for free for you. If you found this video helpful, you'll love this free thing. You've probably seen it all over the internet. You see it in just about every one of my videos. That is a lead magnet. That is the thing around which the entire business is built. If you don't opt into my lead magnet, I don't have your email and I can't promote anything to you other than talking about it in a YouTube video, which doesn't work nearly as well as sending you an email about it. So your lead magnet might not be working. It might be something people don't want. It might not be that interesting. It might just be boring. You might need to try out some new ones. Or the offer itself might not be right, and you need to change that. That could be changing the core deliverables. What is the thing that they're buying when they place their order? Changing the price itself, changing the pricing structure, maybe offering payments, or bundling it with something else. But something about what you're offering isn't working. The easiest thing to try is price, but a lot of times when you just try lowering the price, that's a game where no one wins ultimately. A sale, a promo that ends is great, but lowering your prices indefinitely, I did that recently just to test it out, got a few more sales, didn't make much more money. So I kind of reverted back to before. That's another topic for another day. Remind me about that if I don't talk about it soon. That's worth talking about. And the third thing you can change is the message itself. So in other words, change the copy. This is copywriting. So if you're not familiar with that term, that's the words on the page or the words that are being spoken by the person on page. So to use Frank Kern's terminology, when you encounter a problem, it's not the end of the world. Stop whining. You're just typing or talking. Typing into a computer, talking into a camera. Problem solved. Now, this doesn't solve the offer problem. If you're selling something people genuinely don't want, no amount of great copywriting is going to solve that problem. And that's the problem with the copywriting world. They will acknowledge this to be true, but they ultimately behave as if I just write the best sales copy on planet Earth, I could get someone to buy a stick from me out of my backyard. It needs to be something that they want. That is a bigger deal. It's kind of like in the music world. If I record something that sounds amazing, just the raw recordings, then what I do during the mixing phase doesn't matter all that much because it sounds so amazing. But a lot of people want to say that mixing is the secret sauce. It's not. Copywriting isn't the secret sauce. You can certainly ruin something with bad copy, but you can't save a crappy product with good copy. Don't forget that. However, if your copy's bad, it can hurt things. This is what I ended up changing with this promo. So what is the copy? Well, it can be the emails that you send, and then there's kind of three components to that. The subject line. Subject line matters a whole lot. If they don't think that subject line is interesting, intriguing, if it doesn't get them to open the email, that subject line bombed, right? Once they open the email, the content needs to keep them engaged with it until the call to action at the end. CTA. This is the thing that they click on. This is the action you want them to take. You need to regularly give people calls to action, whether it's to buy something or to simply go click and watch this video or go check out this cool thing I found. Get them in the habit of clicking your links. If they're not clicking your links, you got to change something and quickly. The other place where you can have copy is on the sales page. So the headline of the sales page is the same as the subject line of the email. It tells them why they're there, and it either intrigues them and draws them in, or it pushes them away because they think that's not for me or that's boring. Then comes the content itself. This is the text or video. Is it engaging? Is it all about you and what you do in your product, or is it about them and the transformation that your product can give them? That's a big deal. Mine was all text, and I realized that people find me through video, so they're probably expecting a video from me, and the proof is in the pudding. Sales went up when I added the video back. That's not going to be the case for everybody. The takeaway here isn't you must do video on your sales pages. It's you got to try both and see. Now, it may be that my text also needs to improve, but the video thing did the trick, and I'm pretty happy with it. And then the call to action, how are you asking them to place their order? Are you making it difficult for them? Are you making it super clear? Things like that. So the secret to all of this, by the way, is to only compare yourself to yourself. This was a small promo compared to many marketers. It was a small promo for me personally. Didn't do great, was not a home run, didn't knock it out of the park. It's just kind of a typical 20K promo. In a lot of ways, this promo failed compared to the previous time we ran it. Previous time, ran the exact same emails to a smaller audience, made 24 grand, rinsed and repeated, and then only did 20. So what did I say, 16, 14% behind? So in a lot of ways, it was a quote-unquote failure. But it was still a win because of three things. One, I learned valuable lessons. I learned that, man, the video sales letter really matters. And also paying attention to what's happening during a sale matters. I deepened my understanding. I've been doing business for 15 years. I feel like I'm always learning. I am always learning, and that's why I continue to be able to succeed. Am I making millions and millions of dollars a month? No. Could I be? Yep. Will I get there? Probably. But in the meantime, it does me no good to compare myself to Graham Cochran, Frank Kern, Russell Brunson. Like, I can learn from them. I can admire them. I can aspire to some of the things that they're doing. But for me to compare myself and then get my value from that comparison, trust me when I say that is a road to ruin. Quite literally. I need to tell you that story someday too. Second lesson, I still made money. I still made 20 grand. So some people might say, Joe, you saying that it was a small promo is kind of elitist of you. You made more, in a week than I make in 6 months or something. That may very well be true. I'm not comparing myself to you either, right? This is me, and, what I'm looking to do and to make and to grow and to build. A lot of this is just fun for me. I like to see, can I play this game and beat the last time? This time I didn't. So I'm like, you beat me this time, last time, but next time I'm gonna beat this time. Anyway, but I learned a lot of valuable lessons. I still made money. Those are good things. And I got new customers. Right? Customers are so valuable. There were a number of, I don't have the number, but there were a number of people who bought this course, a couple hundred people who placed orders that had never spent money with me before. They're experiencing me right now as I shoot this video. They're going through my course. They're experiencing transformation. They are, for lack of a better term, falling in love with what I'm doing for them, which means they're going to make great repeat customers down the road. Repeat customers are so much more valuable than people who have not bought from you. I've done tests on this, like 10 times more likely to buy than a non-customer. It is bonkers, but it's totally true. All right, that brings us to the end of the video. I could keep going for another hour, but let's stop there. If you like this video and you'd like more from me, and you're feeling a little bit unsure as to if you've got what it takes to do the stuff that I'm talking about, I bet you do. Go watch that video called Good Enough. It should be right here. That should give you some ideas of how you don't have to be the best person on the planet at this thing to bring a lot of value to the world. I was just talking to my kid. I don't have it near. He's into Rubik's Cubes. And I was telling him that this guy, that we watched a video about Rubik's Cubing, and I told him he would do great if he started a business where he taught people how to solve a Rubik's Cube. And he said, yeah, but that guy is not the fastest in the world anymore. He used to be the world record holder. He's not. And I told him, that's okay. You realize your dad, meaning me, I've made my living the last 15 years, but I'm not the best audio engineer or musician in the world. I don't have Grammys on my shelves, but that didn't keep me from helping people. I don't need permission to help people. I don't need to be best in the world. I need to be good at something and able to help other people get good at it. That doesn't mean we're talking about scamming people and not actually helping them. I'm legitimately helping them, but it's a specific group of people that I'm helping. People who are musicians who want to learn how to record. I got you. I'm best in the world at that. If you are a touring musician who wants to know how to get a Grammy, I can't help you. I never said I could. I don't even speak to that audience, right? But there are some people who could, right? You got a Grammy on your shelf and you know kind of a formula for giving yourself the best chance of getting that Grammy, by all means, share it with the world. But that's not me, but that doesn't preclude me from still being able to add value. Okay, I got to stop talking. The video's getting long. Thank you for sticking here to the end. I'll see you in the next one.